अस्सलाम वालेकुम। प्रोग्राम एम्बेसी रोड में खुश आमदीद। नाज़रीन, आज हमारे इस प्रोग्राम में मेहमान हैं पाकिस्तान में डेनमार्क के सफ़ीर जनाब ओलन तोंगे, और हम उनसे गुफ्तगू करेंगे पाकिस्तान और डेनमार्क के दो तरफ़ा ताल्लुकात के हवाले से, और उनसे पूछेंगे कि पाकिस्तान और डेनमार्क में किस तरह का ताउन है, हमारे जो दो तरफ़ा ताल्लुकात हैं उनमें वुसअत की क्या इम्कानात हैं, और डेनमार्क किस अंदाज़ में पाकिस्तान की मदद कर रहा है और पाकिस्तान में उसके क्या मफादात और इंटरेस्ट हैं। Thank you, Mr. for joining us in this program.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Mr., what would you like to say about Pakistan? You have been here for the last almost 9-10 months. What's your take on Pakistan?
I think what I can say from my heart is that I've been overwhelmed with the warmness and open Pakistanis that I've met so far. Also, I've been overwhelmed with the diversity of Pakistan, the richness in culture, the richness in food, the richness in nature. One thing I would like to mention is that I tried to travel as much as I possibly could since I came, and one of the visits that really stand out for me is when I went to the base camp of Nanga Parbat up in Gilgit-Baltistan, which was a truly amazing experience to see the Himalayas and the tall mountains that you are blessed with here in Pakistan.
Mr., how would you evaluate the bilateral relations between Denmark and Pakistan? We have had diplomatic relations for decades, and where do we stand now?
I think actually we are doing pretty good. We have always had very cordial relations between Denmark and Pakistan. We've had a lot of collaboration in many different areas. And that continues. I think we have seen a strengthening of our ties. We have many different areas of collaboration. We have a development program here in Pakistan supporting various actors and partners. We have a collaboration on the security issue, and then we have increasingly large commercial cooperation, and then obviously there has been since the 60s, 70s a large diaspora of Pakistanis living in Denmark.
Yes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Ambassador, Pakistan has been of great interest to Denmark. It's a huge country with 200 million population, and in this day and age, economy and trade, they are considered to be the name of the game. So how would you look at Pakistan from that perspective?
I think there's a lot of opportunities in Pakistan, and I think there's a lot of unexploited opportunities seen from a European perspective. Obviously, the security challenges that has been here in Pakistan the past decade or a bit more has really hampered bilateral trade and commercial relations between our countries. But since the situation has improved the last 3 years, what we have seen from our side is an increasing interest from Danish companies to come to Pakistan, and my experience is that whenever we persuaded a Danish company to come here, then after they've been here for a few days or a week, they are really overwhelmed by the possibilities and also the professionalism of the business community of Pakistan.
Which areas the Danish companies would like to invest in Pakistan? Which areas they are interested in investing and expanding their role?
Obviously, we from the embassy side, we have tried to promote the areas where we believe that Denmark has special expertise or technology, but also where Pakistan has a need in terms of its demand and development. So the areas that we focus on is first and foremost renewable energy, where Denmark has, in terms of wind energy, the most advanced technology in the world. and we have a lot of experience. We have more than 50% of our intake in the grid is coming from renewable energy, and a large part of that is wind energy. Actually, you know, Denmark is a very windy country, but some days when the wind is particularly strong, then we have more than 100% of our energy need covered by wind energy. Secondly, I would like to mention water and sanitation, where we also have quite a lot of expertise, especially in water treatment and wastewater treatment, which is quite a big need in Pakistan.
Yes.
And then, of course, Denmark being a food and agriculture country, same with Pakistan, there's a lot of overlap there. Then, of course, we have other sectors where we have collaboration. For instance, we are very big in cement industries, in fertilizer industries, and also in IT business. Finally, pharmaceuticals. We have a big company, a world market leader called Novo Nordisk.
You mentioned the energy sector and particularly the renewable energy. Yeah. Pakistan is an energy deficit country. We are trying to overcome the crisis, the energy crisis that is confronting us. So the renewable energy sources are actually the priority with the government of Pakistan. So can you extend your helping hand in producing wind energy from wind and particularly the solar energy?
Yeah, Denmark, since we have more wind than solar, that's sun in Denmark, if I can put that, but we are stronger in wind than we are in solar power.
Right.
We have a Vestas project, which is a market leader in wind energy, who are looking at investing for 1,000 megawatt wind park in Punjab, in Rajasthan. And we are from the embassy side trying to help to forward that project. Obviously, a project of that magnitude does not come around from one day to another, but that's a goal we have.
That's a big effort.
And then furthermore, since it is actually technically quite complicated to increase the intake of renewable energy into the national grid. Since we have a lot of expertise in that in Denmark, we are in discussions with the authorities here to start a collaboration with the Ministry of Energy in Denmark, with the Ministry of Energy in Pakistan, where the experts and the people who on a daily basis try to manage the grid in Denmark, they come to Pakistan and work together with the experts who try to manage the grid in Pakistan.
In Pakistan, you know, the coastal areas, Karachi, Balochistan, etc. There has been an effort in the past to produce wind energy because that provides a very congenial atmosphere for producing energy from wind.
Yeah.
So what are the prospects of joining hands with Pakistan to produce more wind energy?
I think the potential for wind energy in Pakistan is actually quite big. You have some of the best wind corridors in the world, and especially in Sindh, but also in Balochistan, I understand you have quite good wind corridors. And the worldwide trend is that the prices of producing renewable energy is going down quite fast actually. And it's very, very sure that within 10-15 years, the prices of renewables will be below anyone producing energy out of fossil fuel.
From oil or fossil fuel.
Exactly. So that is the future. And I believe that Pakistan need already now start to adapt to this situation in order not to commit yourself to producing more expensive and also polluting energy in the next 30 years, because there will be a huge revolution in the power sector within the next 10-15 years.
Right.
That's for sure. And it will be wind and solar power, but also hydro. Obviously, you need to have a mix
of all, you know.
Exactly. But the tendency will be that you will benefit from having more and more renewable. And then, of course, in the end, it will be the consumers of Pakistan who will benefit from more and more renewable in the future.
The province of Punjab is more interested in producing energy from renewable resources like solar energy, wind energy. Has there been any contact with the Punjab government in this connection?
I've had several meetings with the Chief Minister of Punjab in order to find solutions and advance the Western investment of 1,000 megawatts in Punjab. So start off with a 250 megawatt in Rochang, and then let that be the first phase of the project. And we hope that this will be advanced in the next year or so. And I should mention that will be an investment by a private Danish investment, and it will be by far the biggest Danish investment ever in Pakistan.
Ambassador, about trade and economy, other areas besides energy, how can we expand the trade between the two countries, Pakistan and Denmark?
I think the water and sanitation sector is a good opportunity. Wastewater treatment is an area where Danish manufacturers have quite a lot of expertise. Denmark has traditionally been a very environmental friendly country, and we have ever since the 70s or 60s have very tight regulations on how much the industry were allowed to pollute, etc. And due to that, we have developed quite a large industry of environmental friendly technologies, including in water and wastewater treatment. We have a project with the Punjab government also in terms of trying to see if we can support wastewater treatment in Faisalabad, where currently only 10 to 20% of the water is actually treated before it is dispatched into the rivers. And we hope to advance that. The government has been very forthcoming, and we hope to advance that and introduce Danish technology in this area. One reason or one difficulty before has been that many of these wastewater treatment plants have been actually quite energy consuming. And in a time where you've had an energy deficit in Pakistan, that has been a barrier.
They need to be replaced with more efficient projects.
Exactly,
plants.
And the tendency is now in Denmark, we can actually produce energy producing wastewater treatment plants. So not alone do they not consume a lot, they actually produce energy, an energy surplus nowadays. You use basically the waste material to produce gas, and then you use that to produce energy.
On export-import side, what are the major exports of Pakistan to Denmark and vice versa?
Yeah. We have actually quite an even trade balance. Pakistan obviously mainly imports machinery, pharmaceuticals from Denmark, but Pakistan exports a lot of textiles to Denmark.
Yes.
We have quite
what
a
about
large...
the surgical instruments, the leather goods? Pakistan is well known in these products as well.
We also have that. We also have a lot of sports goods. Actually. We have in Denmark very famous select footballs, and they are produced here in
Sialkot.
In Sialkot, exactly. So there's a lot of trade actually from Pakistan to Denmark. And again, we have a trade balance which is more or less even between our two countries, which I'm very, very happy about actually. I believe that trade goes both ways, and it's not good in the long run if Denmark had a huge surplus with Pakistan. And also I do believe that the goods that we import from Pakistan also creates value in Denmark. So it's a win-win in my
situation for both countries.
Exactly, yes.
Thank you. We'll take a short break, Ambassador. नाज़रीन एक मुख्तसर ब्रेक लेते हैं। ब्रेक से वापसी के बाद हम पाकिस्तान में डेनमार्क के सफ़ीर से मज़ीद गुफ्तगू का सिलसिला जारी रखेंगे और उनसे पूछेंगे कि पाकिस्तान और डेनमार्क किस तरह एक दूसरे के साथ ताउन कर रहे हैं, और डेनमार्क ख़ास तौर पर समाजी शोबा में पाकिस्तान की किस अंदाज में और किस तरह मदद कर रहा है। गुफ्तगू जारी है पाकिस्तान में डेनमार्क के सफ़ीर से। एम्बेसडर, your country has a very, very beneficial social program in Pakistan. And could you please explain to our viewers as is being done, or are you satisfied with the results of it?
Yes, we've had for the past many years have quite an extensive development program active here in Pakistan. One of the key areas have been education, and education especially in the poorer areas of Pakistan, bordering Pakistan, KP, and in Fatah, where we've had quite a large education, or supported a large education program through UNICEF, together with other partners, and we're very happy with the progress of that. Some of the statistics are that the past 3 years, more than 750,000 Pakistani children have actually benefited from this program.
You are establishing schools, or you are helping enroll children who cannot go to school? What kind of mechanism you have adopted?
We're mainly helping children to enroll into the schools, since that has been a main challenge in that area, with very, very low rates of school attendance. Exactly. So we've had that area of support, but we've also had other areas of supporting women and women's rights in Pakistan, who have been very successful, highlighting issues, and also we've been working a lot with the culture of Pakistan, trying to revive some of the old traditions and cultures from all over Pakistan. I have seen myself up in Gilgit-Baltistan, where traditionally there was a lot of festivals, cultural festivals.
Yes.
And some of these traditions, they were actually forgotten, and through the support and the collaboration we've had, we tried to revive some of these cultures and traditions, and there's been a very large or positive reception by the local populations, who've come out in thousands for these festivals. So I think that has been a very positive experience.
In educational sector, you have chosen to help the children of Fatah and KPK adjacent or close to the Pak-Afghan border. Is there a special reason for that?
We have had, since Denmark, Danida, our development corporation, always have a focus on the most poorer parts in a country and the most deprived parts of the population. That was an obvious area to focus on in that. Yeah.
Right. And do you want to expand this program in other areas, in other poor areas like Balochistan, interior of Sindh, and maybe south of Punjab?
And I do believe that UNICEF is actually already working in those areas, and they are being covered. I think it's very positive that there is increasingly focus on education in Pakistan, and I know that the government recently have increased the budgets for the education sector, which I believe is the right way forward. Obviously, donors alone cannot help lift the sector. Government backing is crucial
Yes.
to do that in the long run. So I think that's very, very positive.
In the women sector of women development, where are you focusing on? I mean, are you empowering them with education or skill development, or what is the focus there?
It's a wide variety. Basically, coming from a Scandinavian country, women's rights is something that we always promote all over the world. We do believe in equal opportunities, especially economic opportunities. So that's part of our program. What I can say is that Denmark actually, our development really took off in the 60s and 70s, and that was when our women entered the labor market. The view was very simply that we had half the population or the workforce not being utilized before that. When the women came out into the labor market, our development really accelerated,
yes.
And attributed to the fact that Denmark is now one of the richest countries in the world. And all experience shows that if you invest in women's economic empowerment, then the rate of return is huge, basically.
So are you working on some specific projects in the women development area in Punjab, KPK or Balochistan, Sindh? Which areas you are focusing on?
We've had a variety of partners covering many different parts of Pakistan. I visited myself a partner up in KP, up in Peshawar, who were helping women from rural areas trying to further develop the design of what they produced, but also to market it at the local markets. I've seen a bit the same in Sindh, where in rural Sindh you have some very special designs by the women who sit in the villages and make that. And we paired that with a top designer from Karachi, who then used some of those traditional designs into her more fashionable and modern designs, and then created marketable goods in Karachi. So it's been in many different areas.
Ambassador, a lot of Pakistanis are living in Denmark, and they have been there for decades. What's your evaluation of their role in the socio-economic development of Denmark?
We have rightly quite a large diaspora of Pakistanis in Denmark. The estimate is around 25,000, which for Denmark being only 5 million people altogether is quite a fair...
Quite a sizable...
Exactly, yes. It is. And you see them... the Pakistanis in Denmark is actually one of the most well-integrated diasporas that we have. I know a fact, for instance, which is interesting, is that they have the lowest, one of the lowest employment or unemployment statistics of all the diasporas. So they're very active and obviously contributing to the Danish society, but they are also quite active in politics, actually. We have several
Pakistanis elected to various bodies.
Exactly, and we've had several Pakistanis in our parliament, etc. And I think that's a great contribution to the Danish society.
But you mentioned the integration of Pakistani community into the Danish society. Are there any problems there, or you think that it's very trouble-free and smooth assimilation or integration into that society?
No, I do believe, obviously, the cultures of a country like Pakistan is very different from the culture you have in Denmark or in Copenhagen even. Denmark is a very liberal, very modern society, whereas many of the immigrants, including those coming from Pakistan, comes from more rural, more traditional societies. And clearly there will be some sort of a cultural clash.
Reservations.
Exactly, and reservations when you have that. So integration is a difficult process, and there are sometimes issues and conflicts. I see that as part of it, but obviously with a joint effort, I do believe we can overcome those issues.
So Pakistani community living in Denmark, are they educating themselves? They're getting good education to be a part of that society?
Yeah, and what we have seen is obviously the first wave of immigrants from Pakistan. They came to Denmark when we needed a lot of manual labor, and that was what they basically took up as work. But their children, and especially their grandchildren,
second and third generation.
Exactly, they are increasingly educating themselves, and increasingly they go to the universities. I think a very good example is my commercial counselor at the embassy. He has a Pakistani origin, but is now a 100% well-integrated Dane. He went to one of the best commercial universities we have in Denmark, and now he works as my commercial counselor, trying to improve the trade relations between Denmark and Pakistan. So he's a perfect example of this change that we have seen over the past years.
You think that there is a capacity in the Danish society to absorb more Pakistanis, or for that matter other communities, or there is a limit to it, because every society has its own capacity to absorb the immigrants?
Obviously, there is a limit to how many immigrants any country can absorb. And when we have seen that all over Europe, basically, that's not something particular to Denmark.
Yeah.
And I think it's also in the interest of everybody, because you need also the integration to function smoothly. And obviously, if you have an overload of immigrants, there will be more and more challenges.
We'll take another short break and then we'll come back. नाज़रीन, एक मुख्तसर ब्रेक लेते हैं. ब्रेक से वापसी के बाद हम पाकिस्तान में डेनमार्क के सफ़ीर से गुफ्तगू का ये सिलसिला जारी रखेंगे और उनसे पूछेंगे कि यूरोपियन यूनियन में और यूरोप में इस वक्त गैर मुल्कियों के ख़िलाफ़ एक तरह का सेंटिमेंट जो पाया जाता है, उसकी क्या वजह है और इसको किस तरह दूर किया. हमारी गुफ्तगू जारी है पाकिस्तान में डेनमार्क के सफ़ीर से. There's an impression here in Pakistan and elsewhere in the Islamic countries that the immigration from Islamic world to Europe and the European countries is being somewhat resisted. Although Germany and other countries, they have opened their doors to these immigrants from Syria and other parts of the world, but it looks that there is a reservation being expressed by some sections of the society that there should be a limit to it and they should not be allowed to come into European countries.
Yes, as we discussed before, I think it's true that there is a limit to the absorption capacity of many European countries in terms of immigrants and refugees. And again, I think it's important to distinguish between refugees and then illegal immigrants, yes. And because we have seen both in Europe. Obviously, some people have said that it's too much. Others said no, we can and should do more. So there is a lively debate, I do believe, all over Europe on how to tackle this issue. Obviously, a key part of it is also how to integrate the immigrants that comes to Europe, and that debate is also very, very lively, and solutions must be found to these issues.
Master, there is also a growing impression in the Islamic world, in Pakistan also, that an Islamophobic tendency is on the rise in Denmark and other European countries. What is your take on that?
I don't think that the Danes are Islamophobic. Obviously, in any society, you will find people who, for one reason or the other, will try to exploit this issue and will incite hatred against other people, being it homosexuals, being it people with other skin colors, or being it racial tendencies, or being it religious tendencies. You have always found that in history, and I do believe we will continue to find that in history. But saying that Europe or Denmark is Islamophobic, I think is not true. Obviously, one of the reasons has been the rise of terrorist attacks, where
in European countries,
in European countries that for many citizens are inciting fear, and the sense that that we need to stop this one way or the other. So I think that's some of the background and where that might come from. I do believe that dialogue and integration is the way forward, and we are moving in that direction, definitely.
But do you personally believe that the terrorism that is on the rise, and there have been very unfortunate incidents of terrorist attacks in France, in Brussels, in Germany and other countries, is it associated with Islam, or anybody could be an extremist or a terrorist irrespective of his religious beliefs?
No, I don't believe it's attributed to religion. I believe it is attributed to extremism, and we have seen that many places, and we have also seen Christians committing terrorist attacks. I think one of the most violent terrorist attack in Scandinavia was committed by a young Norwegian extremist, a Christian called Breivik. So I don't subscribe to that.
So, Master, what is your view of how to basically overcome the problem of extremism, terrorism here in the Islamic world or in other countries of the world? What could be done? You mentioned the dialogue is one way to do it. There are other methods, other ways to overcome this problem.
I actually think if you look at it, a country like Pakistan, you have been hit very, very hard by extremism, and you have experienced
suffered a lot
from these terrorist attacks here in your own country. And I think the experience is that it is very, very difficult to root out. Again, I'm really happy that the last 3 years have seen an improvement in the security situation. I firmly believe that terrorism cannot be tolerated anywhere by anyone, and must be condemned in any way. So I do hope that this trend will continue also for Pakistan, even though we've seen a upsurge recently here. I hope that was an isolated incident, and then you will be back on track in this matter.
How do you look at the future of Pakistan-Denmark relations, given the history that we have steadily moved forward? We have improved relations, bilateral, in every sense. I mean, trade, economy, everywhere. What is the future?
I do believe there's quite a big future in our relations. I do believe as technology advances and as globalization increases, the distance between a country far away like Denmark in Scandinavia and Pakistan is actually becoming smaller and smaller, and it will be easier to exactly make the transfer of technology that is needed here in Pakistan. So I think in the long run, many of the solutions and the technologies that we have in Denmark, I think are very, very applicable here in Pakistan. Obviously, we need to make sure that the security situation improves in Pakistan. That's still the biggest barrier for Danish businesses to come to Pakistan. And obviously we need to have a continued economic positive situation as we have right now.
Master, do you think that Denmark and Scandinavian countries, they have their own model of economic development? They are known as welfare states.
Yeah.
So do you have any visualization or vision that Pakistan could one day be a welfare state in terms of economy?
If Pakistan wanted to, I do believe it definitely could. I don't subscribe to the view that you can take one country's model and then just apply it in your country. Obviously, you need to adapt to the local context. But we in Denmark, we developed a welfare state along with Norway and Sweden in the 60s and 70s. The fundamental principle is that all members of the Danish society should have equal opportunities, and that we need to redistribute the wealth creation in the society. So that's why we have the lowest inequality in the world in Scandinavia, and we have free education all the way up through universities. And if you are a student at the university, you are actually paid by the government around $1,000 just to attend the studies.
Or university.
Exactly, and again the principle is that even if you are from a lower social class, you should still be able to attend school and live a life as a student. So that's why the government goes in and pays. We have free health care for all members, and it's free to visit the doctor and everything. A lot of the medicine is subsidized by the state, and if you are unemployed, then you have security schemes that takes care and make sure that you get
cover your expenses.
Exactly, cover your expenses.
Yes.
So and that system, of course, has functioned really well and has laid the foundation for where Denmark is now. Obviously, there is also a downside. There's a bill to pay. So we have also one of the highest levels of taxes in the world. On my when I receive my salary every month, I pay more or less half of it back to the state. So 50%
tax.
Exactly is very high. And obviously also another challenge having a welfare system like that is that you need quite a large bureaucracy to handle this welfare state, and that is also or can be quite costly.
What are the prospects of Pakistani young students who are going to schools and universities, colleges and universities, getting higher education in Denmark? Is there any arrangement? We have Higher Education Commission of Pakistan, which offers scholarships for study abroad.
Yeah.
And is Denmark a part of that, or have the commission, the Higher Education Commission, approached you to provide scholarships for PhDs, master's degrees in Denmark?
Yeah. They haven't approached me as such, but we have a program called Study in Denmark, where young people from all over the world, including Pakistan, they can apply to go to a Danish university, and if they are successful, then they will be issued a visa to study in Denmark. I should say that it is on competitive basis, and there is quite a lot of interest from all over the world. So only the best they are admitted. But luckily you also have that here in Pakistan. I know there are some Pakistanis who have actually
young people,
exactly who have benefited from this program. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. नाज़रीन, आज इस प्रोग्राम में आपने पाकिस्तान में डेनमार्क के सफ़ीर की गुफ्तगू सुनी। उन्होंने पाकिस्तान और डेनमार्क के दो तरफ़ा ताल्लुक़ात की एक तारीख़ बयान की। उन्होंने कहा कि पाकिस्तान और डेनमार्क के दो तरफ़ा ताल्लुक़ात बहुत दोस्ताना और ताउन पर मबनी है। उन्होंने बताया कि डेनमार्क पाकिस्तान में तालीम के शोबा में बहुत दिलचस्पी ले रहा है, ख़ास तौर पर खैबर पख्तूनख्वा और फाटा के इलाके में नौजवान जो बच्चे हैं उनको तालीम देने के लिए फ़ंड्स और फ्राहम कर रहा है और दूसरी इमदाद जो है वो दे रहा है। उन्होंने कहा कि पाकिस्तान और डेनमार्क के दरमियान दूसरे शोबों में, तजारत और मईशत के शोबों में ताउन के वसी इम्कानात हैं और इस सिलसिले में पेश रफ्त हो रही है। बाज़ डेनिश कंपनियाँ पाकिस्तान में सरमायाकारी कर रही हैं और वो मज़ीद सरमायाकारी के लिए तैयार हैं। उन्होंने ये भी कहा है कि पाकिस्तान और डेनमार्क के दरमियान तवानाई के शोबे में ताउन हो सकता है। डेनिश कंपनियां जो है पाकिस्तान में हवा से और सूरज से बिजली पैदा करने के लिए पाकिस्तान की मदद कर सकते हैं। इसी के साथ ये प्रोग्राम ख़त्म होता है। जावेद सिद्दीक़ को इजाज़त दीजिए। Khuda Hafiz. Thank you very much, Ambassador.
Thank you very
Pleasure
much.
talking to you. It's nice talking to you.